it's actually pissed some people off. You have the NHL, which will be exciting, but it's only for a certain population. Not everybody loves hockey.
And a lot of people
like the Masters, but not everybody's going to be into golf. The NCAA tournament, people will pick brackets, but they may not sit there and watch every freaking game. So you have a chance to own early April. You have a chance to sit there and say, baseball's back. You know what? Let me put Guerrero on a pedestal, and let me go talk about Walker Bueller, and let me sit there and show a game with Tatis, and let's show these superstars and everything, and Bo Bichette, and every one of these guys that we could let's highlight our stars. No, instead of that, let's argue and make sure that we don't meet for about a month, and then when we do meet, let's meet for 15 minutes, and then have a private call. Then let's make the players haven't offered anything at all. They haven't moved an inch. The owners have moved minuscule. At least they tried. I know that you're more of a player guy, I'm more of an owner guy.
Right.
But you're more of a union guy, and I'm more of a screw the union guy. But that's
you're management.
That's right. I'm management. You're union. But I don't even mean it that way. I think that I support the players. I want everyone to be able to get their stuff. Actually, I think baseball has the best one. The NFL, their contracts aren't even guaranteed. Guy breaks his leg, he's out. Done.
Right.
Your career's over. Oh, too bad. You're a part of the pension fund for the 2 years you played in. The NBA doesn't have a great one either. NHL, not at all. Only baseball has it. Baseball union has been great, but now we're sitting there quibbling, and I get it. The pitcher on the Brewers that won the Cy Young, Burns.
Yep.
What's he going to make, $600,000 this year?
Yeah.
I get the fact that he deserves a raise. I get it. He's the best pitcher in the National League last year. Maybe the whole league last year. Probably the whole league last year. I get it, but sit down and what's wrong with compromise? I don't know why compromise is so hard.
No, well, just like in Congress. So, but here's the thing.
Let's talk about Ukraine next. Anyway.
Yeah. Here's the thing, though. When you're talking about trying to give money to the top players who are not eligible for arbitration yet, you got to come up with more than $10 million because Corbin Burns should have gotten money, obviously.
Well, I think they went up from 5 to 20. Did they not, or did I misread that?
But that still doesn't really take care of a lot of players. I mean, that you're basically taking care of maybe 10 players now. There's so many other players that deserve it. Maybe, you know what, like you said, compromise. If they came to like 50 million, I think that's fair. I mean, it's not my money. I don't give a crap.
Well, here's the whole thing. Well, it will be if you decide to go to a game, but you already know what a family of four costs you when you go to a game. You and your boys go to a game out of state, you feel great. You go to a game here in New York, and because you powers, you go with your sons, you go visit stadiums, and and they don't rip you off like they do here.
Oh no, you can sit right behind.
Get great seats for good for great pricing. You go to. I mean, you've been to Petco, and you've been to Houston, right? You've been to Texas. You've been to all the Pittsburgh, I think. You've been to all these beautiful stadiums, right? And they're not expensive. No, but you go to a Met game, you probably pay more to park than you pay for a ticket sitting down low in the other stadiums, and it's like you got to be kidding me. So, so here we will get jabbed a little bit with that, but I do think that the owners. I mean, they went up from 5 to 20. Listen, should they probably be somewhere around 30, 35? I'd say that. I wouldn't go to 50 necessarily, but I'd go up another 15. But I think the players have to actually budge a little bit. The players are acting like they're acting a little spoiled right now. I think they do all right in the union by now.
You know what? But also, don't get me wrong. What they were looking for is probably a little bit too much of a jump for minimum salary, getting up to like $750,000 as a minimum. No,
they want to go up to $1 million. They want a cool $1 million.
Well, then they've changed their stance and they've gotten worse than what it was. But they were talking like going to 650 and. Right now, what is it, like 6, maybe a little bit more than 6?
It was like 5 and change, and the owners went up to 615, which is way too low. And the players wanted $1 million. That's where it started.
Not where it started, but they wanted to progress maybe to $1 million.
No. They actually said that they want the rookie income to be $1 million. That was where it began. Now they may not have stuck with it. They may have came down off that, and I didn't see it.
Yeah, no,
that was the original number.
I saw it was tiered for like 650, 7, and then 750. Over the next 3 years.
I think that was the owner's side.
The owners came by with like 615, 660, and like 690 or something.
Well, if that's the case, then we're talking about 615 to 650. Really? That's really the issue? All right. I mean, then we're just being stupid.
It's very simple stuff that they could just figure out.
The original thing I had seen was $1 million. And so I mean, I thought that was like, wow, that's a pretty good jump, doubling it up.
Right. You know what?
It's like 550 now or some 545.
At the end of the day, whatever they're going to give, whatever the billionaires are going to give the millionaires, it's going to be coming out of our pocket because they're going to charge another $3 for a cheese dog. They're going to charge another $5 for a ticket. They're going to charge
a little bit more to your cable company, and there's going to be threats that you don't get to watch your game.
Right.
And there's going to be threats that, and every household will have to pay an extra $1 or $2. And you won't notice it because you're already paying $240 a month for cable. So now my bill's $245. And, but they're going to threaten that they're going to lose the Yes Network. And you're going to threaten that you're going to lose the SNY Network. And you're going to threaten that you're going to lose ESPN and all the other places where you watch games. And that's where they're going to get you. People don't realize, well, I won't go to the game. Fine. They're going to raise your cable prices. What do you think is going to happen? Why do you think this ever happens?
As long as they don't take away the Ocho, I'm good.
Yeah. I mean, great sports, dodgeball's nice, but
the other night they kept on flashing ESPN Ocho during the national tag competition.
Did they really? I have not ever seen that. That's great.
I swear to God, it looked they like 8 ESPN 8. They were saying Ocho. Cotton, and I'm sure it was in homage to the Ocho and dodgeball. But I saw that.
Obviously, it was Cotton McKnight, I think was the name of the character, and
Cotton
and Pepper and Pepper Brooks, something like that. Pepper something. Pepper and Cotton. Now, let's see how that strategy works out for him, Cotton.
Right.
Go balls deep. There was a lot of great things in that scene.
Oh,
that sign hanging up. You got to love it. But anyway.
It's a classic.
And Shatner giving the final, actually it was Chuck Norris gave the final thumbs up.
Chuck Norris is the one that let it go. He's the one.
Chuck Norris allowed him to play.
Yeah.
It was very, very exciting.
Thank you, Chuck Norris.
So anyway, we wanted to talk a little bit about starting pitching tonight because why not?
Yeah, well, this is what we would like to do. As we get closer to the season, people are going to start their drafts and stuff. And we want to break down by position, maybe some thoughts and ideas, some of the top players that we have, maybe some wild cards that could turn out to have a really good year. Maybe people don't have on the radar to, be a good pitcher or whatever. But today we're going to talk starting pitchers.
Okay. You want to kick us off, my friend?
Sure. Okay.
Who's your number one?
Number one, I'm going with Corbin Burns.
It's really hard not to.
The Cy Young Award winner.
He's really, really good.
Dude, look at his numbers. 234 Ks. He had 11 wins, 18 quality starts. His ERA was 2.43, a whip of 0.94.
The funniest part is because he's outstanding, right? He may not even be the best pitcher on his team because Brandon Woodruff is pretty damn good too.
Yeah, and he's on the list.
It's so funny that because everyone talks about in our area about how great the Mets starters are.
Yeah,
with Scherzer and DeGrom, and they are. Don't get me wrong.
DeGrom is, by the way, I would have much higher on this list, except that he hasn't finished the season in 2 years.
He's dominant. He just
would
you take the Met twosome over the Brewer twosome or vice versa?
Brewers.
I think I would too. And that seems weird to say about Scherzer and DeGrom, right?
Yeah.
But the young kids of Burns and Woodruff are really good. Anyway, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I just want to ask you that question.
And with Scherzer and DeGrom injuries, Scherzer misses starts because of his back. DeGrom misses half the season because he has a partial tear in his elbow. I would definitely go with the two young guys. I mean, they've got so much more to give, and you can have them for only $600,000 a year.
Exactly, nice and cheap.
Okay. Well, who's your number one guy?
I had the same guy, Ed Burns.
Okay.
I just think that coming off the year he had last year, he's only going to get better. He's so young. He's only going to get better to me.
Exactly. Number two, I went with Scherzer.
Okay. Number two, I'm going to throw. I went with Cole.
Okay. Here, Scherzer's numbers: 236 Ks, 15 wins, 18 quality starts, 2.46 ERA, whip of 0.86. For Cole, 243 strikeouts, so he had another extra win, 16 wins, but a 3.23 ERA, whip of 1.06.
Well, without the American League to the National League, though. I mean, to me, but that's going to change soon as well. The one thing about Scherzer is the Met factor. A lot of times when the Mets go out and make these big splashes, they just don't work out.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's not going to work out, but it could happen. I'm just
his
saying.
First start coming out of the bullpen, he's going to go down the steps to put his jacket away. He's going to slip on the step, and he's going to wrench his back. He's going to be out a month.
You can see it happening.
Okay, number 3, I go with Walker Bueller.
Me too.
Wow,
I like Walker Bueller. He was almost my 2, to be honest with you. I like him a lot.
Tough debate. Walker Bueller, 212 Ks, pitched 208 innings, so that's good. 16
He's also
wins.
young. That's the thing I love about him.
Yep.
And he's only going to get better.
2.47 ERA, whip of 0.94. Number 4, I went with former Met, Zach Wheeler.
You went higher with Zach than I did. I went with Shane Bieber as number 4.
Okay. You know, again, because he missed most of last year is the only reason why I'm kind of holding off on Shane Bieber. But
he strikes out so many guys when he's healthy.
Well,
he's like Chris Sale to me.
Zach Wheeler struck out 247 last year. So he strikes out, 1 or 2 guys a game as well.
Oh, he certainly does. Maybe it's the fact that I watched him pitch as a Met for so long. I don't know.
Right.
You got to convince me more on Zach.
I got to tell you,
he's a top 10 pitcher. I just didn't have him as high as you do.
You know what? I got to tell you though, when you don't watch him every day, like we watched him every day when he was here, and he wasn't that good. But he came off injuries. He had surgery and stuff like that. And he's found a home in Philadelphia. He's found big bucks, and he's maturing. What is he, like 28, 27, 28?
He certainly has. I think Bieber's a bona fide ace. I think that. I mean, he certainly is, and I think he's great at striking, getting the big strikeout when he needs to. I don't know if he'll get the wins because the Indians just aren't going to be a great baseball team. But
right.
But I also worry about Wheeler in that small park. If he gets the ball up, home runs are going to be abound.
Right. Number 5, I went with Brandon Woodruff.
And number 5, I went with Max Scherzer. So, we already talked about Scherzer, but tell me about I love Woodruff. You know that. So
yeah. 179 and 2/3 innings, 211 Ks. He only had 9 wins, but he had 20 quality starts and a 2.56 earned run average and a whip of 0.96.
I mean, he's right there with Burns. It's just funny. I mean, I honestly think Woodruff could be better than Burns. I didn't pick it that way,
right?
Because of coming off last year, but they're both excellent.
Excellent pitchers. Number 6, I went with Julio Urius.
Okay.
Of the Dodgers.
I went with Max Scherzer. I'm sorry, not Max Scherzer.
Scherzer was fine.
I went with Jacob DeGrom. My bad.
Okay, and we discussed this before. The only reason why I would actually probably have DeGrom even higher. He'd probably be in the top 3. But, like we said, he just doesn't stay on the mound. And, and the fact that he kept on pitching, his arm was bothering. The Mets allowed him to continue to pitch. And he ended up losing, more than half the season. That's the only reason why I don't have him up higher. DeGrom, he's a dominant pitcher. End of story.
Yeah, as long as he gets – I mean, he'll never get a lot of wins because the Mets won't score when he pitches. But you know what? He's going to give great numbers when he's out there.
He's unbelievable. How does a guy win a Cy Young, winning, 11, 12 games?
Nope, you're right.
So, but I went with Urius because 185.
He's got great stuff. Oh, my goodness, does he?
194 Ks, 19 wins. Here's the thing that's quality starts. You only get 12 quality starts.
I get it. I mean, but, you got to remember one thing. With that Dodger bullpen, you didn't always go 6.
Right. 2.97 ERA and a whip of 1.02.
He faded down the stretch, too. He got tired.
Yeah. Well,
he has great glasses like you have on today, so it was really exciting to watch him pitch.
Dude, he's 100 pounds soaking wet, too. So, number 7, you went with Garrett Cole earlier. I went with Garrett Cole at number 7 there. Who'd you go with number 7?
Woodruff.
Okay. So, we have the same.
We basically have the same 7, except for I have Bieber in a spot and you have Urius in a spot.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's gonna be shocked when they look at this.
You have Urius and Wheeler.
Yeah, Urius and Wheeler are ahead. Yep. I got Wheeler at 4, Urius at 6. At number 8, that's where I got DeGrom. But again, that's
me at number 8. It's a reach a little bit, but I'm going to go with Ohtani.
Okay.
I know it's a bit of a reach. I just think the guy's amazing. I think he can do it. I'm just saying. There's not a lot of numbers backing me up coming off the injuries and all that stuff, but
yeah, you know what?
I like Ohtani.
Part of the problem with Ohtani is he has those games where he just sucks. He can't get out of the first inning.
No, exactly. But when he's on, he's dynamic.